That works. Okay. All right, so I'd like to get the meeting started. I'd like to thank you all for coming to the last SMA meeting of the year. The first thing we're going to do, we have a couple announcements. So, Morris, can you please talk about Carol?
All I have to do right now is for those of you who ordered in the spring, I should be hearing back from Eric. We got our apparel through as of the date of when everything will be arriving. So look for anyone who ordered in your email for that.
Lucas, volunteer day.
Volunteer day is still set for this Saturday. Please arrive early to West Gym to catch the bus, because if you're not there, we'll leave without you. The only other thing is, depending on how quick we get work done, we could be done a little early. So just be prepared for that. And there is a chance of rain, so keep your eye on the Weather Channel.
Dress accordingly. All right, Kai, you want to talk about the banquet?
As you all know, the Sport Management 35th Anniversary Banquet is coming out this Friday, April 20th. There's still seats available. We encourage you all to come if you haven't signed up yet. The cost is $35. It's $40 online, so if you want to save the $5, please register with a check made out to SRU Foundation. Either be given to Amanda, myself, Mike, or Dr. Crow, or Dr. Grace. So we really appreciate your attendance. And then also, for all those that have volunteered with the Pittsburgh Marathon, I have the waiver forms with me today. If you're not in the facilities class, if you could come down afterwards and sign the form for me, that'd be great. And just check your phone number, email, t-shirt size, make sure that's all correct. That'd be appreciated. For those in the facilities class, I'll get you tomorrow in class. Thanks, guys.
All right, a couple more things. We have a couple practicum meetings that are on there. If you plan on taking a practicum and you haven't had the practicum with that professor yet, you have to go to the meeting. It's mandatory. And next thing I'd like to do is just like to introduce ourselves since we're the new board. So I'm Chris, and I'm one of the co-chairs.
I'm Amanda Savage, I'm the other co-chair.
I'm Marissa Manko, I'm the social networking chair.
So I'm Mark Carmo, professional development chair.
I'm Shannon Yager, I'm the event coordinator. Renee Duke, fundraising chair.
Milton Maranto, the treasurer.
Stephanie Brady, the historian.
Adam Obringer, web manager.
Are there any faculty announcements?
Yeah, we've been having some problems with prerequisites, particularly for $300 and $400 courses. So if you have an issue, please contact the professor who's teaching that class. If there is no professor assigned, please contact me. Thank you.
No? All right.
Our speaker today is Mark Metzka, and he is the Assistant Director of Admissions.
Come on, right more current.
Sorry, I had to do it to you. Someone else was talking about that today. Have it on the Facebook page. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. First of all, just for my own information, how many seniors in here? Great. How many seniors already have jobs? Jobs. What's the difference? Right? It's about getting a paycheck or not getting a paycheck. How many juniors? Sophomores. Turn out. Good. Freshmen. How many from Ohio? Are you guys here because of me? I know Kenny. Anybody else? No. Okay. Chris asked me to come and talk with you guys a little bit, and what I'm going to do is try to give you a little bit of my background. I graduated from Slippery Rock in 1995 with a degree in sport management and a minor in business administration, and my curriculum was much, much different from the curriculum that you guys have. My diploma from Slippery Rock reads Bachelor of Science in Physical Education, major sport management. So there's not a whole lot of differences between what the diploma says and what you guys are going through now. The point of it is how marketable do you make yourselves, and how willing are you to be diverse, okay, and expand what it is what you can do with this degree. So I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about what I've done between 1995 and now, and talk to you a little bit about how I've used my sport management degree and the experiences that I learned within the major. So When I first graduated in December of 1995, well, let's talk about the internship first. Before I graduated in December of 95, the fall semester I spent doing my internship here. Okay? I did my internship here in the athletic office with our director of compliance at the time, who was Bob Heller. My intention was I wanted to work in intercollegiate athletics. That was kind of the area that I had chosen as my focus and where I thought that would be the best fit for me and my skill set. So I had an opportunity to do that, plus it was paid for. That didn't hurt the opportunity, but I did a semester here and I graduated. At the time, we could still take classes during our internship. I know that is a change that has been made now where you guys only have your 12 credit internship in your last semester, but I did have my 12 credit internship. And one of my required courses at the time, which was aquatic fundamentals. That's still a required class in your curriculum. How about teaching of racket sports? That's still required. Leisure service programming. Picking up on the differences in the curriculum right now. Okay, it was a much, much different one. So I had my experience with the compliance director and realized one very important thing from that internship was that I absolutely did not want to be a director of compliance. All right, so sometimes that is the benefit of the internship. Obviously, you have been told, try to parlay your internship into an employment opportunity, correct? That would be the ideal situation. But sometimes the second best thing about an internship is figuring out, I don't want to do this. So that's what my internship did for me. So I kind of switched gears a little bit and had an opportunity with a teammate of mine who was the head coach then at George Junior Republic. How many of you work at George Junior? Any rec staff people here? Nobody works at George Junior? Okay, that's the direction that I went. Got a job at George Junior as an assistant coach. So before I even graduated from here in December, I was already coaching there, started beginning of November. So that was my first opportunity on the coaching side of things. Also, kind of switching gears a little bit, that phys ed degree still applied. Even though it was sport management, it still applied to the job description at George Junior. So I worked in George Junior in a lot of different areas. At first, coached, and that year was the youngest staff to win a state championship in Pennsylvania. Our head coach was 25, our other assistant was 23, I was 22, and we won the AA state championship. So that was kind of an unrealistic feel for coaching because I thought it was really easy. And we won our first game, or we lost our first game, won 30 in a row, and finished 30-1 and state champ. So I still have that ring somewhere. Maybe I'll bring it to Chris sometime. I don't know where it is, but it's in Pennsylvania, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't really count. So from there, I moved back home. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, and I moved back home. And getting that experience on kind of the criminology or criminal justice side of things at George Junior, although the direct lead into that was athletics, I kind of switched gears a little bit and worked at an alternative school. So it was a good friend of mine that was the principal of an alternative school, and they were looking for an instructional aide and a behavior coach. So the experiences at George Junior kind of related directly into that experience. Did that for a year. Then in 1997 got into juvenile probation in the city of Youngstown. So don't know if you guys know anything about the city of Youngstown. Very, very safe place. Very little crime in Youngstown. So juvenile probation is a lot like being campus police at Slippery Rock. Not much happening, okay, because everybody is so well behaved here. Did that for about a year, and then the next jump was really an opportunity that was created by my curriculum and the phys ed side of the classes that I took during my time. And that was, I worked for the Department of Youth Services in Ohio in a maximum security juvenile prison called TICO. Okay, it was the training institution of Central Ohio. If you ever want to read some really good stories about juvenile prisons, just Google search Training Institution of Central Ohio. You get some really, really good stories. But my position was General Activities Therapist. So actually I printed some job descriptions of a General Activities Therapist. However, there are no openings right now on the juvenile side in Ohio. So the ones that I printed are from the adult side, which there's a big difference between working in juvenile and adult corrections. Okay? The juvenile side is more geared towards rehabilitation, which makes it very rewarding because regardless of the offense, everybody's getting released. Okay? We had all of the loss of life kids, meaning murder, attempted murder, manslaughter. We had about 40 kids who had taken somebody's life, but the longest that we could keep them incarcerated was till their 21st birthday. Okay, they were all released at midnight when they turned 21, and they were free. They didn't go to an adult prison at that point. They were tried as juveniles, and they were released back out on the street. So my job was, in recreation, one, make sure they don't kill each other. Okay, when you put the softball bat out there, make sure you always know where it is. We also did a lot of programming because hopefully you guys have understood or begin to understand at this point how important recreation is, not just for physical health, right, but for the mental and the emotional side of things too. It is therapeutic for those guys, trust me. And that's why it's such a good opportunity for sport management students to kind of look at that direction, because you might be in the worst prison in Ohio, and I was. But if you're the rec guy, they love you, okay? Because you're doing the fun things. You're not telling them to be quiet in line. You're not taking food away from them. You're not taking privileges away from them. You're doing what they enjoy doing and what they need to do. And your job is very important because you make it easier for everybody in that institution. If you have a good rec session with those guys and they get a good workout and they get out some of that energy, they're much better to deal with in the institution for the rest of the day. So it is an important position. And as recently as last year, I did a college fair or career fair event at one of the institutions in Pennsylvania, an adult institution up in Marionville, and I asked about the opportunities for sport management students in recreation. Is it still like that even though the curriculum has changed? And they said absolutely. Okay, they are interested in sport management kids for recreation jobs in prisons. All right? The disadvantages, pretty obvious. The advantages, state employment. Okay? It's nice to be on the state payroll with state health insurance, state benefits. All right? Also, federal opportunities. The same time that I was working at the school, the alternative school, I interviewed with the Bureau of Federal Prisons. There's a federal prison in Elkton, Ohio, which is Columbiana County, and I had that interview and was offered a position, same type of position, but I was 24 years old and the shift was 12:30 in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night. Just wasn't interested in doing that as a 24-year-old. But that is a 20-year retirement, okay? So, let's see, Dr. Crow, that would have been, I was 24 then, and I'm 34 now. I appreciate you guys for not balking on that. I would be 4 years from retirement. Okay? If I had taken that job at the time, I would be 4 years away from retirement. Dr. Crow, how many more years do you have before you retire?
More than 4.
More than 4, okay? Federal opportunities, federal jobs, 20 and out. Okay? They are 20 and out. So those opportunities for recreation exist. They do like sport management students. All right? So I know maybe that's something you have never thought of before, but it is a great opportunity. I enjoyed it. So your question is, you liked it so much, why did you leave? Okay, why did you leave? Well, I had an opportunity to go play overseas. All right, so after I left Tico, I went to Denmark. I lived in Denmark for 2 years, from 1999 to 2001. I played overseas in a club called Horsens for 2 seasons. One of my teammates, my second year, was also a Slippery Rock alum, Joe Lewandowski. He's a Butler guy, and he teaches at Butler. So that was a great experience, and I would never trade anything, any opportunity that I might have given up before. It's worth it because of the 2 years that I got to play as a professional in Europe. So after that, 2000, something very important happened in 2001 that ended my career. 9/11, correct. Yeah, ended my playing career overseas. Ended up going back to George Jr. Same head coach called me, said, "What are you doing?" I said, "A whole lot of nothing, waiting to go to Germany." He said, "I got an opportunity for you, a job doing aftercare." So kind of staying on that crim side, doing preventative aftercare. It's kind of like case management / probation, and also a coaching opportunity along with it. He said, "We're going to be pretty good that year, and we got a lot of good players." And he ended up being right, because at the end of that season, we beat Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. LeBron was a junior. We played him at Youngstown State University in front of the biggest crowd ever at the Bigley Center. It was a lot of fun. The game was televised by the local TV station. They came in ranked number 3 in the nation, and we beat them. at home. That was a lot of fun over there. Also a big payday. We had a lot of nice gear at George Junior. And then 4 days later, we went into the district playoffs, and Erie Prep absolutely kicked our butts 4 days later. So it was kind of a lose-lose. That was our championship, was the Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's game. But it was still a lot of fun. And if any of you guys are familiar with Youngstown and My Valley Sports, last year they had that entire game on the website. You go to myvalleysports.com and watch the entire George Junior Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's game when LeBron was a junior. So that was a lot of fun. They lost 2 games that year. They lost to us and they lost in the state championship that year as well. So that's something that we'll always think of being very, very special. So, and then I left George Junior again to go back home, back to Youngstown, just again because of the safety, and got a job back in the juvenile jail. From there to ITT Technical Institute, which is the absolute worst place in the world to do admissions, but it gave me admissions experience because everything on that side up to that point had kind of been criminology related or coaching. It gave me the admissions experience to have the opportunity to come here. I don't know if any of you know Mimi Campbell, our interim director of admissions, if anybody's familiar with her. She was the reason that I was here. How did that contact come about? Well, all of my years at George Junior, her husband at the time was my supervisor. So it's when Dr. Crow, Dr. Higgs, Dr. Abney, they talk to you about networking, that is absolutely 100% true. There's 3 things. There's 3 things about sport management that will prepare you better than anything else. 1, they stress the communication skills. 2, they stress being professional, the professionalism in your appearance. And 3 is the networking. Every opportunity that I have ever had is because of who I have known and built relationships with. So it's about relationship building. Okay. So then I've been here since 2004, working in admissions. My emphasis areas: out-of-state recruitment, athletics, college of health, environment, and science, and physical therapy. About 80% of what I do deals with physical therapy at some point. So my job is to help students kind of steer into the right path coming out of high school, and a lot of them don't know what they think they want to do, and they don't know really what they think the opportunities are. They get a lot of bad advice, and you guys may look back upon that when you were coming out. How many of you changed your major into sport management? It started in something else and changed into sport management? Yeah, I did too. Okay, I started in business marketing and waited until my junior year before I finally realized that it was kind of not where I belong. I belong in sport management. That's what I am. So if that's what you are, that's a good thing. So now all you can do is work on those 3 areas and make yourself as marketable as possible. All right. Another thing that I would like to present to you is in the business of sport, you're going to come across a lot of people. So I had an opportunity. I actually left here for a 9-month period, April of 2006 till January of 2007. And I took a coaching job in Cincinnati, Ohio at a prep school called Harmony Community School. It was a public charter school, but athletically, we were a prep school that played on the national level. We had a football team, and more importantly, or I guess more visibly, we had a men's basketball team. So we had all 5th-year kids, undergraduate prep. We competed on the national level. We ended up being the number 5 ranked team in the country that year. We finished 36-4. We only lost to 1 other prep school. Our other 3 losses were junior colleges. So a lot of prep teams compete against junior colleges. But in that year, we had 2 teams, kind of an A and a B squad, and we ended up putting 12 players into Division I basketball. All right, so out of the 2 teams, we put 12 guys in Division I. I brought some letters with me, Chris, the letters that I showed you yesterday. I have a lot of handwritten letters from Bruce Pearl, from Gary DeCesar, from DePaul, Sacramento State. We put our 3 biggest recruits that year. 1 went to the University of Florida, 1 went to Tennessee, and 1 went to Nebraska. So those were probably our 3 biggest recruits. And all those coaches are now fired. No, Billy Donovan is still there. But yeah, 2 out of the 3 coaches are fired. But my point is this. When you are in that business, and you're in the position that I was in, you come across a lot of people, okay? And you think you're building relationships that are meaningful, but the most important thing that you have to do during that time is figure out who is a person that this is going to be a relationship and a friendship that develops, and who just likes me because I have good players. All right, and that's important, because I have a really nice letter up there from Bruce Pearl, and I have a really nice letter from Gary DeCesar, who was at DePaul at the time, and all these handwritten things. Charles Harrell from South Plains, and the coach from Central Connecticut, and Sacramento State, and all of these places, Doc Sadler, David Anwar from the University of Nebraska, all of these things. If you ask those guys who I am right now, they haven't the slightest idea, okay? Not the slightest idea. But I also have a handwritten letter from Ryan Peden, who at the time was at the University of Miami, who is now at the University of Toledo, and if I called Ryan right now, he's not in a meeting, he's answering the phone, okay? If I call Jeff Bowles right now, who's the assistant at Ohio State University, he's answering the phone. Ricky McFadden at the University of Akron, Eric Howd at Kent State University, Anthony Stewart at Southern Illinois. Those guys are answering the phone. So it's about who you can really trust and develop a relationship and consider not just a professional colleague, but a friend. That's what you have to get good at, okay? Don't fall into the trap. That's my friend. They're not your friend, all right? If you have good players, anybody will talk to you. And there's a lot more of that goes on, not just in basketball, not just in football, okay? You don't think Bobby Petrino maybe act like he liked some guys to get some players? Probably a couple times, right? That's how that works. So that is your job. Who is my friend? Who can I trust? Who can I count on? And who's just in this because they need what I have? And that's important. Because, like we talked about, so much of it is networking, but you have to decipher the real from the fakers, all right? So that's important. And I know it's hard to get good at, and you're going to get burned a couple times. That's just how it works, right? But you guys have to get good at that and keep that in the back of your mind. And I'm not saying go out there with a don't trust anybody attitude, right? But beware, okay? Be cautionary. Another thing that I wanted to present to you guys today, particularly the seniors. After we leave here today, I'm going to go meet with the Senior Marketing Director for Quaker Steak and Lube. All right, Quaker Steak and Lube, as you guys probably know, is coming onto campus in our new student center. And a really good friend of mine from way, way back is their Senior Marketing Director. Now, they have franchises opening all over the country. I mean, if you follow the Loop, go to their website, you'll see they are opening everywhere. So, I know it's a restaurant, but remember the concessions side of things that a lot of sport management alums kind of get into, but also the Loop. You guys have all been to a Loop, correct? It's not just about the wings, right? They're kind of a sportier restaurant. Wouldn't you say that? I mean, what's all hanging all over their restaurants? Cars, right? Motorcycles. Anybody into NASCAR? Those are good relationships because they sponsor a lot of those things. They have relationships and tied in. So as an entry-level spot, not bad. If anybody's still looking for an internship or some practical experience, get me your information. That's something that I can certainly pass along for you. All right? They are everywhere, and they are expanding. They are all over. So that is just one of those things, and that's what I meant earlier when I said if you are willing to expand and be diverse. I know some of you want to come in here and work with baseball. Quaker Steak and Lube isn't baseball, but if it can get you into somewhere, take it. Okay? Take the opportunity. I worked in a prison because that was the opportunity that I had. Okay? Walked into work every day with 40 killers. That's what I had. Okay? That was my opportunity. We got great haircuts every week. There was a barbershop in that prison. It was fantastic. And I got my car washed every week. They didn't have anything to do. That was like reward for them. They get to cut my hair and wash my car. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But don't rule those things out. Okay, so I just wanted to throw some things out there for you today. And people always ask me, parents particularly when they visit with students, because students don't talk just mom and dad. They say, what was your major? And I tell them sport management, minor in business. And they say, well, how did you get this job? Okay, meaning, how did you become the assistant director of admissions? And I said, well, you think about what does this job entail? What makes you good at admissions? What do you have to be able to do? What is the single biggest thing you have to be able to do to be successful in admissions? Communication skills, but you have to build relationships. Okay? Whether you're recruiting students from an admission standpoint, whether you're recruiting students from a coaching standpoint, coaches, guidance counselors, parents, teachers, they don't send their students to Slippery Rock University. They send their students to people. They're sending them to me, okay? That's their mentality. I'm sending them over there because I'm the face of Slippery Rock University to them at that point. I'm all they know about this place. So if you can build that relationship and that trust, they're going to send them to you, okay? Give me one example of that. How many of you know Scott Zima? I know Mr. Zima from athletic training, okay? For the past 4 years, Mr. Zima and I go and we speak at Kent Roosevelt High School because they have a 6 cities compact for athletic health care. So for half of the day as juniors and half of the day as seniors, students are coming from 6 districts around Kent and they do athletic training things, all right? So I said, wow, we need to start speaking in these classes. So this is our 4th year that we have gone. And in the fall of 2012, we have 6 students starting with us in athletic training from that class. They have 18 seniors, we're getting 6 of them. They have affiliations with Akron and Kent to where they get credit from that class at those universities. They don't get any credit from us, but we're getting 6 out of their 18. We have built a relationship with Terry Slattery, who's that instructor. It helps that Scott contributed to the textbook that they use, gave us a little bit of credibility going in the door, but they trust us, okay? And they trust that what we tell them in that presentation is actually what is going to happen here. So, building relationships. It doesn't matter if you're working for me, if you're working for Consol, if you're working for the Steelers, if you're working for Youngstown State University, you have to build relationships because you are the face of whatever you are representing and people are going to deal with you. They're not dealing with Consol, they're not dealing with the Pirates, they're dealing with you. So that's why those 3 things that I told you about are so important. Okay? Do what you say and say what you do. Alright? Alright, does anybody have any questions for me about anything that we did or did not cover? Yes?
What was your official title when you worked for the prison, the TCA?
Yeah. I have some of those. I printed some of them so you can get an idea of the job description. I wasn't sure how many people were going to be here today. And the ones that I printed, it's actually from a women's prison. It was the only ones that we're hiring right now, the adult women's prison in Ohio. That's not easier, guys. Trust me, that's harder. It's the Ohio Reformatory for Women. The position is General Activities Therapist. Okay, that's a fancy title for recreation. Okay, prison recreation. Okay, don't think because your degree is not phys ed that they don't still want you. They do. Okay, they do. Any other questions? Great, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we leave, just a little recap. Volunteer Day is this Saturday, April 14th. The Sport Management Banquet is April 20th, and the practicum meetings are on here for you. So, is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Hope to see you all on Saturday.
Make sure you send your ID card.